You've been hearing a voice your entire life that doesn't actually exist. And the worst part? You're the only person who has ever heard it. Everyone else hears something completely different. And they're right. You're wrong. So what exactly have you been listening to all this time? Most people hear themselves on a recording and immediately think, is that really what I sound like? And then spend the rest of the day feeling vaguely unsettled. You replay it. You convince yourself the microphone must be bad. You ask someone nearby, do I really sound like that? And they shrug and say yes. That's exactly how you sound. It's so universal that psychologists have a name for it: voice confrontation. The gap between how we hear ourselves and how others hear us is real, measurable, and it runs surprisingly deep. But here's the thing. It's not a flaw in the recording. The recording is accurate. You're the one hearing things wrong, and the reason why is stranger than you'd expect. So, why does this happen? And what does it say about how your brain constructs your sense of self? Because this isn't just about ears, it's about identity. Your brain has been building a version of your voice since the moment you first started speaking. It knows that voice, and it will protect it no matter what. Scientists studying this phenomenon have found it touches on memory, ego, and a quirk in how humans evolved to process sound. And it turns out, the voice you think you have is one that physically cannot exist outside your own skull. To understand this, you need to know that sound reaches your brain through two completely different pathways. Pathway 1, air conduction. This is how other people hear you. You speak, sound waves travel through the air, enter their ear canal, vibrate their eardrum, and get converted into electrical signals the brain interprets as your voice. Pathway 2, bone conduction. This is how you hear yourself. When you speak, the vibrations from your vocal cords don't just exit your mouth. They travel directly through your skull bones, your jaw, and the fluid in your inner ear, straight to the cochlea. And here's the key difference. Bone conduction preferentially amplifies lower frequencies. The deep, resonant bass of your voice gets a physical boost as it travels through solid matter. Air conduction doesn't do this. It carries your voice more neutrally. The result? Everything you have ever heard of your own voice has been artificially enriched. Fuller, deeper, more bass. A recording strips all of that away. What you're left with is what the air carries. And suddenly your voice sounds thin, high, and foreign. And here's where the science gets uncomfortable. Researchers found that when people were played recordings of their own voices mixed with strangers' voices, without being told which was theirs, they consistently rated their own voice as the least attractive in the room. Not slightly lower, the least attractive, every single time. That's not just interesting. That's your brain being completely blindsided by reality the moment it loses the context of knowing it's you. When they did know which voice was theirs, they rated it much higher. Their expectations were literally changing their perception of the same sound. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. If bone conduction only explains the acoustic difference, the richness you expect versus what you hear, it doesn't explain the emotional reaction, the cringing, the almost visceral discomfort. Psychologists think this is a form of self-discrepancy. Your brain holds a very specific internal model of who you are, including your voice. When reality contradicts that model, it triggers the same neural discomfort as being told something unflattering about yourself. In other words, the discomfort isn't about the sound. It's about identity. Some researchers go further. They argue the voice you hear through bone conduction, the one that feels like you, may actually be a constructed memory more than a real sensation. Your brain has averaged together thousands of instances of your own speaking. It built a model. And that model is now more real to you than the actual acoustic signal. You don't hear your voice. You hear your brain's prediction of your voice. What this tells us is that hearing, even something as intimate as your own voice, is never a neutral experience. Your brain is always filtering, predicting, and adjusting what you perceive based on what it expects. And interestingly, this effect fades with exposure. People who regularly listen back to their own voice, podcasters, singers, public speakers, report the discomfort diminishes significantly after just a few weeks of regular playback. The brain updates its model. It accepts the new version. And eventually the recorded voice starts to feel like you too, which raises a strange question. Which version of your voice is actually real? The one only you can hear, or the one the entire world hears except you? And that question goes way beyond your voice, because your brain does the same thing with your face, your body, and even your memories. It builds a model of who you are, and it protects that model, even when the evidence says otherwise. Every single day, you are experiencing a version of yourself that has been filtered, adjusted, and constructed by your own mind. That's a much bigger mystery, and it's one we're going to dig into next.